Chapter 1. The Ring Beneath the Table. I reached the stock exchange before sunrise, with a diamond ring pressing against my chest through the inside pocket of my coat. Victor Shaw met me near the private entrance. "You are early," he said. I could not sleep. Nervous about the listing? About something else. His eyes dropped toward my pocket. "You are really doing it today?" After the bell. Victor gave a thin smile. "Selena likes grand moments." I know. That was why I had chosen IPO day. Northstar Technologies would enter the public market. Selena would stand before the cameras as chief executive, and I would finally ask her to marry me. No reporter knew I had founded Northstar. No employee below board level knew I owned most of it through Cole Meridian Holdings. To the public, I was only Ethan Cole, a quiet strategy advisor who followed Selena like a shadow. Victor lowered his voice. "The board is asking whether you will appear." "Not yet. You cannot hide forever, Ethan. Today is about Selena." "Is it?" I looked at him. "What does that mean?" Before he answered, heels clicked across the marble floor. Selena walked toward us in a white suit I had bought for her last birthday. Julian Cross walked beside her, wearing the confidence of a man who believed every room belonged to him. Selena stopped when she saw me. "Ethan, why are you here?" "I work here. You know what I mean. This area is for executives and guests." Victor cleared his throat. "Ethan has clearance." Julian smiled. "Of course he does. Selena has always been generous." I kept my voice calm. "Good morning, Julian." "Big day," he said. "Try not to look so worried." Selena touched his arm. "We should go. The press is waiting." I stepped closer. "Can we talk first?" "After the ceremony." "It matters. So, does this company?" I thought I mattered too. Her expression hardened. "Do not start today." Julian leaned near me. "Let her breathe." I wanted to tell him that every light above us had been paid for with money I had risked. I wanted to tell Selena that the company she claimed to protect belonged to me. Instead, I touched the ring through my coat. "Fine," I said. After the bell. The media hall filled quickly. I stood behind the final row while Victor introduced Selena. She stepped onto the stage and smiled into the cameras. "This day belongs to everyone who believed in Northstar," she said. "Especially the man who stood beside me when it mattered most." My fingers closed around the ring. Selena turned toward Julian. Julian Cross came back into my life when I needed strength. He reminded me who I was meant to become. Applause rose around me. A reporter called, "What about Ethan Cole? People have seen you together for years." Selena looked directly at me. For 1 second, I expected fear, regret, or mercy. She smiled. "Ethan was part of my past," she said. "Julian is my future." The room exploded with questions. My breath stopped. Julian walked onto the stage and held out his hand. Selena took it. "Tell them," he said. She lifted their joined hands. A ring already shone on her finger. "We are engaged." Someone laughed with surprise. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted. I could not move. Victor appeared beside me. "Ethan, I did not know." "You knew enough." I knew Julian was advising her. I did not know this. On stage, Julian pulled Selena close. She kissed him. The ring in my pocket suddenly felt heavier than the company. Victor caught my sleeve. "Think carefully. Halting now will cost millions." So did trusting her. "You are angry." "I am awake." "What should I tell the exchange?" "Nothing until Daniel calls." "And Selena?" I watched her lean into Julian while reporters praised their perfect future. "She wanted a grand moment," I said. "I'm about to give her one. She will remember it." My phone vibrated. A message from Daniel Reeves appeared on the screen. "Chairman, the board is waiting for your decision." I looked up at Selena while she celebrated beneath my company's name. Then I typed one reply. "Tell them not to ring the bell." Chapter 2. The Love I Was Asked to Hide. I left the media hall before anyone could stop me. The ring stayed in my pocket, but every step made it strike against my chest. Daniel called before I reached the elevator. "Where are you?" "Leaving. The directors are gathered upstairs." "I need 5 minutes." "You have already given Selena years." His words followed me into the empty corridor. 5 years earlier, Samuel Grant had stood beside me in a rented office with broken heating and one working computer. "You have a strong idea," Samuel had said. But ideas do not build companies. People do. I do not trust people. Then Northstar will remain one man and one machine. My father trusted everyone. Your father also signed papers he never read. I had looked away from the newspaper photograph of my father being pushed through reporters after his company collapsed. I will never live like that. Samuel had tapped the first ownership agreement. Then protect your shares. Do not erase yourself. I protected them through Coal Meridian Holdings. On paper, a private investment company owned Northstar. Only Samuel, Daniel, and the board knew Coal Meridian belonged to me. Then Selena had entered my life. During her first interview, she placed a damaged sales report on my desk. This forecast is wrong, she said. You have not been hired yet. It is still wrong. I almost smiled. Explain. She sat without permission. Your team expects customers to buy because the software is clever. Customers buy because they are afraid of losing time or money. Sell relief, not code. You sound certain. I grew up counting every dollar. I understand fear. I hired her that afternoon. Months later, after our first major contract, she found me sleeping at my desk. Come home with me, she said. I have work. You always have work. So do you? Yes, but I also have noodles. I looked up. Is that your best offer? No. My best offer is that you do not have to be alone tonight. She became my safe place before I understood what that meant. When I made her operations director, she kissed me in the parking garage. One day, she whispered, I will make you proud. You already do. When I made her CEO, she cried against my shoulder. Why me? Because you fight for every person in the room. I fight because I remember being ignored. Then never become someone who ignores others. At first, she kept that promise. Years passed. The office grew taller, the meetings grew colder, and Selena began correcting me in front of people. Do not wear that jacket to dinner, she told me once. What is wrong with it? It looks cheap. It is comfortable. Investors notice everything. Investors are meeting you, not my jacket. They know you are with me. I had laughed. She had not. Maya Chen noticed the change before I admitted it. One evening, Selena's assistant brought documents to my desk. Mr. Cole, may I ask something? Only if you stop calling me Mr. Cole. Does Selena speak to you differently now? She is under pressure. That was not my question. I closed the file. What have you seen? Julian Cross visits after hours. His name is not always entered in the guest system. Selena told me he was helping with investors. Maya hesitated. He does not look at her like an advisor. I wanted to believe jealousy had made Maya misunderstand. A week later, Selena asked me to hide our relationship until the IPO. Rumors could weaken confidence, she said. We have been together for 4 years. Then a few more weeks should not matter. Why does Julian attend every public dinner? He has the right connections. And I do not. She sighed. Ethan, your simple life was sweet when we were small. Now it embarrasses me. The memory hurt more than the kiss I had just witnessed. Back at the exchange, I heard voices behind a partly closed suite door. Julian said, You handled him well. Selena answered, He looked broken. He will recover. What if he causes trouble? He is an advisor with no real power. Silence followed. Then Selena said, Once the listing is done, Ethan will no longer matter. My hand tightened around the door handle. Julian laughed softly. Not to you, and not to Northstar. I finally understood. She was not only removing me from her heart, she was removing me from my own company. And she believed I was too powerless to stop her. Chapter 3. Congratulate us, Ethan. I pushed the suite door open. Selena turned first. Julian stood beside a table covered with champagne glasses and investor gifts. Ethan, she said, were you listening? You were speaking loudly. Julian moved between us. This is a private room. So is Betrayal, but you displayed yours on stage. Selena crossed her arms. Do not make this ugly. You announced our ending to a room full of cameras. I tried to tell you for months. You told me to wait until after the IPO. Because I needed stability. And he gave you that. Julian lifted his glass. I gave her a future. I looked at Selena's ring. How long? She glanced away. How long, Selena? 3 months. The answer cut deeper because it came so easily. Julian said, "You should leave." Selena touched his arm. "No, let me finish this." She faced me with the calm expression she used when firing employees. "Julian and I are getting married. You and I wanted different lives. Congratulate us, Ethan. Let's all start fresh." For a moment, the room blurred. I remembered her asleep against my shoulder, her hand inside mine, her voice promising that success would never change us. "I hope you understand what you chose," I said. Her mouth tightened. "Is that a threat?" "No. It is the last kindness I have left." The door opened behind me. Nora Cole entered carrying a red folder. My sister wore no smile. "Ethan, we need to talk." Selena frowned. "Why is your sister here?" Nora looked at her. "I'm Northstar's outside corporate counsel. You never mentioned that. You never asked who protected the company while you decorated the stage." "Nora," I warned. She handed me the folder. "Read page 6. Julian stepped closer. "Those are confidential documents." Nora smiled without warmth. "Then you recognize them." I opened the file. A proposed share issue would activate moments after the listing. New stock would pass through 2 shell firms connected to Julian. The founder's voting power would fall below control level. Selena said, "That is a normal financing plan." "No," Nora replied. "It is a takeover hidden inside an IPO." Julian set down his glass. The board approved the structure. 3 directors approved a draft. The majority shareholder did not. Selena looked at me. "Why are you reading this, as if it concerns you?" Nora answered before I could. "Because he has better judgment than you." I studied the signatures. "Selena, did you authorize this?" "I authorized protection against an inactive investor." "Cole Meridian Holdings?" "Yes. That fund has blocked every bold decision I made." Julian said, "The owners are old men hiding overseas. Once the shares go public, they lose their grip." Nora looked at me. "Hear that? They plan to steal your company before breakfast." Selena laughed. "His company?" I closed the folder. Nora leaned near me. "Stop the listing. Remove her. Expose them in front of every camera downstairs. I will stop the shares. And the listing? Only if necessary." She humiliated you. This decision affects hundreds of employees. She used those employees as cover. "I know. Then act like the chairman." Selena stared at us. "What did she call you?" I ignored the question and signed the emergency resolution Nora placed before me. Julian grabbed the folder. "You cannot authorize anything." Nora pulled it away. "Watch him." My phone rang. Daniel spoke quickly. "The exchange needs confirmation. Freeze the new issue. That may trigger a full halt." "Do it." Selena stepped toward me. "Who are you talking to?" I ended the call. A speaker outside the suite crackled. "Northstar Technologies' opening has been delayed pending review of material ownership changes." Selena's face twisted. No, this cannot happen." Julian checked his phone. "Victor will fix it." The announcement repeated. Selena rushed into the corridor. "Find Victor." Employees stopped moving. Reporters began shouting from the hall below. She turned back toward me. "What did you do?" "I prevented a mistake." "You are a strategy advisor. You have no authority." Nora stood beside me. "Maybe you should ask who signed the order." Victor appeared at the far end of the corridor. "Selena, the exchange received a binding order from the controlling shareholder." "Then call them." I did. "And?" Victor looked at me before answering. "They confirmed it." Julian's voice sharpened. "Who signed?" Victor swallowed. "The authorization came through Daniel Reeves." Selena whispered. "The board secretary?" "The chairman's office," Victor said. No one spoke after those words. Selena looked from Nora to me, then toward the silent trading floor. "Who had the power to do this?" she screamed. I met her eyes, but gave her no answer. For the first time that morning, fear replaced pride on her face. And for the first time in years, I did not rush to comfort her. Chapter 4. The Man Behind the Empty Chair. The emergency board meeting began 12 minutes later. Selena entered first and threw her phone onto the table. "I want the chairman on video now." Daniel Reeves remained standing at the far end of the room. "The chairman is here." "Then where is he?" Daniel looked toward the door behind her. I walked in with Nora. Selena stared at me, then laughed once. "This is not funny." Daniel's voice remained formal. Directors, please stand for Ethan Cole, founder of Northstar Technologies, beneficial owner of Cole Meridian Holdings, majority shareholder, and chairman of this board. No one moved at first. Julian broke the silence. That is impossible. I took the empty chair at the head of the table. It was possible yesterday, I said. It was possible while you planned to take over. It is possible now. Selena shook her head. You are lying. Nora opened the red folder and placed documents before her. Original incorporation papers, Nora said. Voting agreements, trust declarations, and beneficial ownership records. Read the signatures. Selena looked down. I watched her recognize my name. Her fingers began to tremble. You founded Northstar? Yes. You own Cole Meridian? Yes. You let me fight that fund for years. I stopped proposals that endangered the company. You sat in my office and acted powerless. I never acted powerless. You decided I was. Julian stepped away from Selena. This was her financing plan, he said. I only advised on market timing. Selena turned toward him. You created the shell companies. I introduced options. You said we would control the board. Daniel placed another file on the table. The board has received evidence suggesting both of you coordinated the transaction. Julian pointed at Selena. She signed everything. My phone buzzed. A message from Maya appeared with screenshots attached. I read the first exchange aloud. Julian, issue the shares before Cole Meridian can object. Selena, once control shifts, Ethan goes too. Selena closed her eyes. Julian said, messages can be edited. Maya entered after Daniel opened the door. I exported them from the company archive, she said. The timestamps match our server. Selena looked at her assistant. You searched my messages? I preserved evidence after you ordered me to delete it. I trusted you. Maya's voice shook, but she did not look away. Mr. Cole trusted you too. The room fell silent. Nora leaned toward me. End it. Remove her now. Selena looked at me. Ethan, please. I hated that one word still reached the part of me that remembered loving her. Daniel asked, what is your decision, Chairman? I looked at Julian. Your access is revoked. Security will escort you out. You cannot blame me for her ambition. I blame you for your actions. The audit will decide the rest. Then I faced Selena. She whispered, do not do this publicly. You made our ending public. Her eyes filled, but I refused to look away. I am suspending your voting authority and executive powers pending an independent audit. Nora frowned. Suspending? I want the full truth before permanent action. Selena said, you still think there's something worth saving? I'm trying to save Northstar. Security entered for Julian. He pulled away from the guard. You think owning shares makes you strong? You hid behind her because you were afraid. The words landed closer to the truth than I wanted. Daniel closed the door after security removed Julian. Should I notify regulators? He asked. Preserve everything first. Nora struck the table with her palm. You are protecting Selena again. I am protecting the investigation. She kissed another man under your name. Northstar is not my weapon. Selena whispered. You could destroy me with one sentence. Yes. Why have you not? I looked at the woman who had once shared instant noodles with me in a freezing office. Because anger is not evidence. And love. Love is not innocence. Neither answer gave me any comfort then. After everyone left, Selena cornered me near the window. You let me think I was building this with you. You were. No. I was performing inside a world you secretly owned. I gave you real authority, but never the truth. I wanted to know whether you loved me without the money. Her face broke, so I was a test. Before I could answer, Maya rushed back into the room. Chairman, the audit team found outgoing transfers. How much? We do not know yet. Selena went pale. Maya looked at me. But company money may already be missing. Chapter 5. The price of her choice. By noon, Northstar celebration floor had become an audit room. Daniel locked the executive accounts. Nora collected devices. Marcus Hale, our chief financial officer, sat across from me with sweat shining above his collar. Open every ledger, I said. Marcus adjusted his glasses. Some records require board approval. You have it. Certain contracts are commercially sensitive. So is theft. His eyes moved toward Selena. She stood near the window of the office we had designed together 3 years earlier. I remembered arguing over the wood desk, laughing over paint samples, and promising that one day we would watch Northstar change the world from that room. Now she would not look at me. "Marcus," Daniel said, "begin with the revenue accounts." "I need time." Nora placed a legal notice beside him. "You have 10 seconds. Marcus opened his laptop. Selena finally spoke. "Can Ethan and I have the room?" Nora answered no. I looked at my sister. "Give us 5 minutes." "That is a mistake." "Probably." When the others left, Selena remained by the window. "You owned everything," she said. "I owned shares. I did not own you. You controlled every decision I thought I made." "That is not true. You blocked my expansion plan. It risked half our cash. You rejected Julian's acquisition. The target company had false customers. You always had an answer." "Because I read the documents." She turned toward me. "Do you know what investors said when I brought you to dinner?" "I never cared." "I did. They asked whether you were my driver. One woman asked if I paid your rent. And that made you ashamed of me?" "It made me afraid." "Of what?" "Of going backward." Her voice cracked. "I grew up hiding eviction notices from my mother. I wore the same shoes until the saws opened. When I entered those rooms, I still felt poor. Julian knew how to speak to those people. He made them respect me. He made you believe respect could be borrowed. He offered a world where no one laughed at me. And I offered nothing? You offered love." She said it like love had become a small thing. I touched the ring through my pocket. "You chose status over me. I chose survival." "No. Survival is food and shelter. You chose applause." She wiped her eyes angrily. "You do not understand because you secretly had everything. I built everything and hid it from me." The accusation landed where I had no defense. "I wanted to know whether you loved me without my money." She stared at me. "So I was a test?" "I was afraid. You measured my love while giving me only half of yourself. I gave you trust." "No, Ethan. You gave me authority without truth." I breathed slowly. I was wrong to hide it. Her expression softened for one dangerous second. Then I continued. "But I did not force you to cheat. I did not put Julian's ring on your hand. I did not make you plan a takeover." She looked away again. The door opened. Marcus entered with Daniel and Nora. "We found irregular contracts," Marcus said. "How irregular?" I asked. 8 customers recorded as committed revenue, never signed final agreements. Selena frowned. Julian said the signatures were delayed. Marcus swallowed. The revenue was still reported. Daniel placed another page before me. "There are also short-term loans secured against expected IPO proceeds. Who approved them?" Marcus looked at Selena. She whispered, "I signed what Julian brought me." Nora said, "That is not an explanation." Selena faced me. "If we disclose this now, the IPO dies. If we hide it, employees and investors pay for your lie. We can correct the numbers quietly. There is no quiet correction for false revenue. Please, Ethan, protect Northstar." "You mean protect your name?" "They are connected." "Not anymore." I turned to Daniel. "Prepare full disclosure. Contact the exchange, lenders, and regulators." Selena grabbed my sleeve. "You will destroy everything we built." I removed her hand. "No, I will stop your choices from destroying everyone else." Marcus suddenly closed his laptop. "There is more." Nora stepped toward him. "What more?" He looked as if he might be sick. "Some loans moved through cross-advisory accounts." "Did Julian receive company money?" I asked. "I need to confirm." My phone rang before he could continue. Daniel checked the caller identification and handed it to me. "It is the Financial Markets Authority." I answered. A firm voice said, "Mr. Cole, we are opening a formal investigation into Northstar Technologies." Selena sank into the chair we had once chosen together. I watched our shared future disappear from the room. Then the investigator said, "You, Ms. Ward, and the company must preserve all records immediately." For the first time, secrecy felt heavier than public shame. Chapter 6. Karma Trades at Midnight. By midnight, Northstar had lost 3 major clients. I stood in the boardroom while Daniel read the latest messages. Employees are asking whether payroll is safe. It will be. Nora looked up from her laptop. The operating account may be frozen tomorrow. Then use my personal reserve. Samuel Grant, who had arrived an hour earlier, studied me from across the table. How much are you offering? He asked. Whatever keeps every salary paid. You may lose it. I already lost what I thought mattered most. Samuel shook his head. Do not confuse heartbreak with leadership. I am not. Then say why you're doing this. I looked at Daniel. Because the employees did not approve false contracts. They should not carry our shame. Nora's voice softened. I will prepare the transfer. My phone vibrated with a message from Maya. She had attached an audio file. I played it through the boardroom speaker. Julian's voice came first. Sign the transfer before midnight. Selena answered. The accounts are locked. You still have emergency authority through the Treasury portal. Ethan suspended me. The bank system has not updated. What happens after I send it? I move the money somewhere safe. For us. A pause followed. For our future, Julian said. The recording ended. Nora stood. Which bank? Daniel checked the Treasury records. Grand Federal. A transfer request is pending. I grabbed my coat. Samuel said, do not go alone. You are coming with me? No, Nora is. I'm old enough to know when angry men need lawyers. At the bank, a security officer led us into a private room. Selena sat at a terminal with Julian beside her. She jumped up when I entered. Ethan, listen to me. Step away from the computer. Julian raised both hands. This is a misunderstanding. Nora placed a suspension order on the desk. Touch that keyboard again, and it becomes another criminal charge. Selena looked at Julian. You said the transfer was legal. It is a protective movement. To an account in your name, I said. Her eyes shifted toward the screen. Julian's destination company was listed as Cross International Ventures. Selena whispered, you said it belonged to both of us. Julian shrugged. Paperwork can be changed. You lied to me. He laughed. Do not pretend you are innocent. You wanted Ethan gone before I returned. The words crushed whatever remained of her certainty. Security removed Julian after Nora called the police liaison. Selena stayed behind, staring at the unsigned transfer. I thought he loved me, she said. So did I. She looked at me, but I turned away. When we returned to Northstar, Marcus waited outside the boardroom. I need to confess, he said. Nora activated her recorder. Start talking. Marcus pressed both hands against his face. I have gambling debt. Julian found out last year. How much? I asked. Almost 900,000. Daniel swore under his breath. Julian paid part of it. Marcus continued. Then he demanded revenue changes. When I refused, he threatened to tell my wife and the board. So you falsified reports? Yes. Did Selena know? She knew some contracts were weak. I do not think she knew how much I changed. Selena entered behind us. You told me the numbers were clean. Marcus began crying. I was trapped. No, I said. You were afraid. Then you trapped everyone else. He handed me a small recorder. Julian called from my office. I saved everything. Daniel played one file. Julian described the shell companies, the loans, and his plan to leave Selena responsible if the listing failed. Selena gripped the table. He was going to abandon me. Nora said, he already did. Before I could contact regulators, every phone in the room began ringing. Daniel opened a news alert. Journalist Leah Foster had published a leaked video. The edited footage showed me approving payments and telling Selena to trust Julian. My warnings had been cut away. The headline called me Northstar's secret mastermind. I called Leah directly. This is Ethan Cole. I know who you are now. Your video is edited. Every accused executive says that. I can prove it. Then appear at tomorrow's hearing. You published before verifying. I published what 3 sources confirmed. Name them. I protect sources, even when someone uses you. She paused. Bring evidence, Mr. Cole. Until then, the public has yours. Her final sentence sounded like a verdict delivered before trial. Outside, employees began shouting. Nora looked at me. The board is demanding an emergency vote. On what? She turned her screen toward me. My removal as chairman. Samuel quietly asked, will you resign to save the company? I stared at the false image of myself spreading across the world. For the first time, I did not know whether telling the truth would be enough. Chapter 7. The Trial of the Chairman. The public hearing began the next morning. Cameras crowded the chamber entrance. Employees held signs outside, and my name appeared beside words like thief, coward, and fraud. Nora walked beside me. Do not look at the signs. They work for me. Today they believe you betrayed them. Wouldn't you? She stopped before the doors. I have something that can change the story. She opened her tablet. Selena's private messages filled the screen. What is this? Messages to Julian from the past year. She wrote about being ashamed of you, wanting control, and using the listing to escape her childhood. I read one line about Selena hiding under a kitchen table while a landlord shouted at her mother. Nora, no. These prove her ambition existed before your decisions. They also expose wounds that have nothing to do with the fraud. They make her motive clear. I will not save myself by stripping away her dignity. She did not protect yours. I decide who I become, not her. Nora locked the screen. Then we fight with less ammunition. Inside, the lead investigator pointed toward the witness table. Mr. Cole, did you conceal your ownership of Northstar Technologies? Yes. Why? My father's company collapsed in public. I feared attention, interference, and betrayal. So you placed Ms. Ward in charge while retaining secret control. I retained ownership. I gave her real executive power. Yet you blocked decisions without revealing your identity. Yes. Did that create weak accountability? The honest answer burned. Yes. My secrecy created confusion and allowed fear to grow inside Northstar. Reporters began typing. The investigator held up a contract. Did you approve payments linked to cross-advisory? No. Leah Foster sat near the press section. I looked at her. The video suggests otherwise, the investigator said. The video was edited. Can you prove that? Daniel stood when called. I preserved the original board archive, he said. He played the complete recording. My missing words filled the room. Do not trust Julian's revenue claims until Marcus confirms every contract, my recorded voice said. Leah lowered her notebook. Daniel then displayed the emergency order freezing the share issue before the IPO. The investigator asked, who signed it? Chairman Ethan Cole. Before or after the public accusations? Before. Marcus entered under escort. He looked smaller than I remembered. I falsified revenue, he said. Julian Cross threatened me because of my gambling debt. Did Mr. Cole instruct you? No. Did he know? No. I hid it. Marcus gave the recordings to the panel. Julian's voice described the takeover and the planned transfer. Leah asked permission to speak. I traced the leaked video this morning, she said. The file came through a consultant connected to cross-advisory. My report was incomplete and wrong. The investigator asked, are you retracting it? Yes. Publicly and fully. A door opened behind me. Selena entered. Nora whispered. I did not call her. Selena took the witness seat. I did, she said. The investigator warned her about self-incrimination. I understand. Why are you here? To stop hiding. She looked at me once, then faced the panel. I betrayed Ethan. I accepted Julian's proposal while Ethan and I were still together. I approved the share plan because I wanted control. Ethan warned me about weak contracts, but I ignored him. Did Mr. Cole order the false reporting? No. Did he benefit from your plan? No. I planned to remove him after the listing. The room became completely still. Why? The investigator asked. Selena's voice shook. Because I wanted to feel powerful more than I wanted to be loyal. Her confession cleared the company, but I knew it ended her career. Outside the chamber, employees waited behind a barrier. One man called, Did you know our jobs were at risk? No. Why should we trust you now? You should not trust my title. Judge what I do next. A woman raised her voice. Will salaries be paid? Yes. With company money. With mine, until the accounts reopen. The shouting quieted, but no one applauded. Their silence felt fair. Trust could not return simply because one hearing had finally revealed the truth. After the hearing, she found me in an empty hallway. You protected my private messages, she said. How did you know? Nora told me after I decided to testify. I did not do it for your testimony. I know. She stepped closer. When this is over, could you ever forgive me? I thought about the ring, the kiss, the takeover, and the woman who had just destroyed her own future to tell the truth. If I say no, I keep the anger, I whispered. If I say yes, you may think the door is open. Is it? I could not answer, and I did not know which answer would hurt us more. Chapter 8. The apology I could not accept. Julian was arrested at the airport 2 days later. Nora showed me the report in my office. He used another name, she said. Did he have money? 3 accounts, 2 passports, and no ticket for Selena. I looked through the window at the silent trading floor. Has she been charged? She accepted a cooperation agreement. She will avoid prison if her testimony remains complete. And Marcus? Likely a sentence, treatment, and financial penalties. I nodded. Nora studied me. Selena asked to meet you. No. She said it is the last time. That is what endings always promise. Do you want me to refuse? I touched the ring still hidden in my desk drawer. Send her to the old office. The room looked smaller without employees, screens, or framed awards. Selena stood beside the wooden desk we had chosen together. You kept it, she said. The company owns it. I meant the desk. So did I. She gave a tired smile. You always hated wasting things. You call that fear. Sometimes it was. Her expensive suit was gone. She wore a plain gray coat, and Julian's ring no longer covered her finger. My agreement is signed, she said. I'll lose my shares, my position, and most of what I earned. I heard. My name will remain in the case. Yes. I thought losing those things would kill me. Did it? No. It only showed me how little was left after they disappeared. I opened the desk drawer and removed the small velvet box. Selena stared at it. What is that? I placed it between us. Open it. Her fingers trembled as she lifted the lid. The diamond caught the weak afternoon light. She covered her mouth. You were going to propose. After the bell. On IPO day? Yes. Her knees touched the chair, and she sat down. I announced Julian in front of you while you carried this. I carried more than that. Tears ran down her face. I chose him because I thought you had nothing. I felt pain, but it no longer controlled my breathing. You did not lose me because I was rich. You lost me because I was loyal, and you treated loyalty as weakness. I know. No. You know I own Northstar. That is not the same lesson. She closed the box. Then tell me the lesson. You believed love without status had no value. You believed power could protect you from fear. You used me before Julian used you. She nodded slowly. I loved you once. I believe you. I think part of me still does. That part did not stop you. Could anything bring us back? The old version of me wanted to say time, patience, or maybe. I looked at the ring and saw every truth we had hidden. No. She began crying again, but I did not reach for her. I forgive you enough to stop hating you, I said. I do not forgive you by returning. Is there someone else? There needs to be someone honest inside me before anyone else enters my life. She pushed the box toward me. Keep it. I will. As proof that I ruined everything? No. As proof that I survived it. At the door, she stopped. Ethan, I am sorry. I know. I wish that were enough. So do I. After she left, Samuel entered without knocking. You look older, he said. I feel awake. He noticed the ring. Did you take her back? No. Good. You sound cruel. I sound old. I have watched guilt dress itself as love many times. I leaned against the desk. She was right about one thing. I made her test. Samuel nodded. Hiding power can become another form of control. I thought secrecy protected me. It protected your fear. What do I do now? Build differently. Samuel moved toward the window. What will you tell the employees? Everything I should have told Selena. That you own the company? That I was afraid. That fear made me hide. That their trust must be earned, not requested. And if they reject you, I stay accountable. He nodded. Then perhaps the chairman is finally ready to lead. His approval mattered, but my own decision mattered much more. I called Daniel, Nora, and Maya into the room that evening. No more hidden chairman, I said. No more private control without public responsibility. Nora asked, what are you proposing? An employee ownership plan independent directors, and full disclosure before we attempt another listing. Daniel smiled. That will reduce your control. I know, Maya asked. Are you certain? I looked at the empty chair where Selena once sat. Control did not save us. Truth might. For the first time since IPO day, the future did not feel like revenge. It felt like work. Chapter 9. The bell I rang alone. 1 year later, I returned to the stock exchange before sunrise. This time, no ring waited in my pocket. Daniel met me near the same private entrance. You are early again, he said. I still cannot sleep before listings. Are you nervous? Yes. Good. Honest leaders should be. I smiled. Samuel has been influencing you. He charges less than most consultants. Inside, Northstar employees filled the hall. The company had survived investigations, lost contracts, rebuilt its books, and earned another chance to enter the public market. Maya approached with a tablet. The final employee allocation is confirmed, she said. How many participated? Almost 80%. You should be on stage. I am Chief Operating Officer, not a decoration. That sounds like something you said during your interview. I never interviewed with you. You corrected my meeting notes without permission. They were wrong. I laughed. That is close enough. Nora joined us wearing a badge marked Ethics Committee Chair. Do not celebrate yet, she said. I found 2 disclosure sentences that need revision. Daniel groaned. The market opens in 20 minutes. Then you have 19 minutes. I looked around. Where is Samuel? A voice behind me answered, watching you panic. Samuel walked slowly with a cane. You promised to sit down, I said. I promised nothing. That is why you need written agreements. I hugged him. Thank you for coming. I came to see whether you would hide in the back row again. Not today. The exchange director called us toward the stage. Before I moved, Daniel handed me an envelope. This arrived at the office. I recognized Selena's handwriting. Do you want privacy? He asked. No, I want a minute. I opened the letter beside the window. Ethan, I watched Northstar rebuild from a distance. I wanted to write many times, but apologies can become another demand. I work now at a small business center for women who grew up afraid of losing everything. I teach budgets, contracts, and the difference between security and status. I am learning that fear explains choices, but it does not excuse them. I do not ask you to answer. I only hope the bell sounds different this time. Selena, I read it twice. Nora watched my face. Bad news. No. Do you want me to keep it? I will. I folded the letter and placed it inside my coat. Maya asked, Are you all right? I think so. The exchange director raised his hand. Mr. Cole, we are ready. I stepped onto the stage as chairman, founder, and responsible owner. No false title protected me. No hidden fund stood between my choices and the people affected by them. Reporters called my name. One shouted, Is today revenge against the former CEO? I faced the cameras. No. Revenge would mean my life still belonged to that day. Today belongs to the employees who rebuilt this company. Another asked, Do you regret trusting Selena Ward? I regret hiding the truth. I regret ignoring warning signs. I do not regret believing people can grow. The countdown began. 10. I saw Marcus on a secure video screen from his treatment facility. He had accepted his sentence and continued helping investigators recover funds. 9. Nora stood beside the employees she now protected from unchecked executives. 8. Maya held the final listing documents with steady hands. 7. Daniel nodded from the board section. 6. Samuel lifted his cane like a salute. 5. I remembered Selena announcing Julian as her future. 4. I remembered the unused ring beneath the table. 3. I remembered believing silence made me safe. 2. I placed my hand over the bell control. 1. I rang it. Cheers filled the hall. The first trades appeared on the screens. Northstar opened above its target price, but the number did not heal me. It did not need to. An employee named Carlos reached me first. My wife asked whether we were safe now, he said. What did you tell her? That no company is ever completely safe. That is honest. I also told her our chairman finally shows his face. Is that good? He smiled. Asked me after the next quarterly report. I laughed, and the sound surprised me. For once, Honest uncertainty felt better than any polished promise today. Later, I returned alone to my office. I placed Selena's letter in a drawer beside Northstar's first hand-drawn sketch and the velvet ring box. I did not throw them away. Healing did not require pretending nothing had happened. I simply closed the drawer. Selena had believed choosing Julian made her a winner. I had believed hiding myself could protect love. We were both wrong, though our betrayals were not equal. The day she lost me was not the day I became powerful. It was the day I finally chose myself.